Alright everyone, we start off today with the results from Missouri, Idaho, and Michigan. Yes, the caucus is there for the GOP. Donald Trump predictably won considerable victory. He got, in fact, I think all the delegates in all three states. There's nothing else to be said, really. We're going on into Super Tuesday in just 2 days, of course. I will be going live for Super Tuesday. I was actually not aware that these caucuses were happening, because a lot of the sites still cling to the old calendar from the last cycle, and so I didn't know that they were happening. Not that I would have bothered going live anyway. I'll go live for Super Tuesday, because there are a number of states on the East Coast, of course, including my home state of Vermont, where I will be voting for Trump in the primary, by the way. There are a number of states in the Eastern time zone. Results will start coming in. Probably will go live at around 7, around when those results start coming in. Go for a couple of hours or thereabouts. Of course, Idaho is on near the West Coast. They're on a different time zone. I'm not going to start at 8 p.m. and go till 10 for 3 states that it was a foregone conclusion Trump would win. But on Super Tuesday, when we have a dozen states up, that'll be more worth it. So, congratulations to the people of Missouri, Idaho, and Michigan. You crushed Nikki Haley. She was basically a blip on the radar. At this point, Donald Trump is running unopposed. He doesn't have an opponent. His margins of victory now are about the same as the margins that Joe Biden is getting. On Super Tuesday, I expect that that'll be the same thing. And that's because Nikki Haley has lost all possible momentum she could have had. You will have a small remnant Trump derangement syndrome vote for her, even after she drops out, by the way. I mean, she'll still be on some of those ballots. You'll still always have a few people that vote for Ron DeSantis or Tim Scott or somebody else. This is a permanent fixture of the primary process for both parties in politics. But Trump effectively is, at this point, running unopposed. The fact that Nikki Haley now struggles to break 15 points in some of these states is monumental. She has failed completely. I would expect the average margin of victory on Super Tuesday will be 60 points for Donald Trump. That'll be the average margin of victory. In fact, I'm probably underestimating. It'll probably be closer to 70. There will always be people that vote for someone who clearly can't win, and they do it either because they just really like the person, they really dislike the other candidate, or they're just dicking around. You know, there will be some Democrats in the open primary states that take ballots, like here in Vermont, it's an open primary, and take whichever ballot you want, and they'll vote for Nikki Haley. It'll happen, because they know that Biden will win. He'll win by, 60, 70 points as well, so there's no threat to him from any challenger. And Marianne Williamson unsuspending her campaign, somehow even when she was no longer campaigning, she managed to come in ahead of Dean Phillips. It shows the weakness of his candidacy, even though he had the best political ad of the season so far with that one, the Bigfoot ad. Trying to find Biden, that was a pretty good one. It was definitely entertaining and will go down in political history as a niche opposition victory, by the way. A link in the description, archived, of course. You can see the results for yourself. Where's the opposition? Supposedly, Trump's got this real stiff opposition. There's a lot of TDS sufferers. Well, then why is he running up at 85% of the vote in most of these states? Why is he running so hot and literally nobody else has any pulse whatsoever? He's defeated them all already. This race was over before Iowa even began voting. When you looked at the polling in Iowa, you knew that Trump was going to win it. It was really a fight for second place. DeSantis got that. By the way, again, big congratulations to the DeSantis fans for putting him over that margin. I'm glad that you stuck it out and voted for him, actually, because it humiliated Nikki Haley. She goes into New Hampshire. This is the sole state in which she's put virtually all of her effort, which was dumb. She should have done that in South Carolina instead and taken her lumps until then. At least she would have her own home state. She would look logistically a little bit more significant at this point. She could have won South Carolina. She loses New Hampshire by about 13 points. That was the state that she targeted 10-1 against Trump as far as ad spending. Nevada, she's not even on the caucus ballot. I mean, they had a Nevada caucus and a primary, and for some reason, I think she thought that she could win the primary. She doesn't get delegates, but she technically wins the state outside of the state function, and it would look good, because Trump wasn't on that particular ballot. I think that was the goal, but then she lost to uncommitted, just like Joe Biden was hazarded in Michigan the other day. And then, of course, you have South Carolina. She loses her own home state by a decent margin. It was a crushing, humiliating defeat. Lost by, 21 points almost. Now she's lost 3 more states. There is no longer any capability, any possibility under the sun that she even gets another delegate outside of strictly proportional states. She's going to come in with 20 or 30 more, probably, from the TDS vote from a handful of states that have that system, and that's it. So, I mean, yay, again, she's celebrating because other than Iowa, she keeps coming in second place. The problem is there's only other one person in the race. Well, that means you lose. She'll probably say, well, Donald Trump, he came in first place, but, yeah, I came in second everywhere. Clearly, I'm the viable alternative. Yeah, I know, I'm 60, 70 points behind in most of these states in polling, but, you know, I still did my best. Now we wait, and we see for Super Tuesday. Does Nikki Haley actually drop, or is she so batshit she just says, you know what, I'm just going to stay until the end and be the other name on the ballot? There is a possibility that she does that, although I have a feeling she'll finally see the writing on the wall after she loses another dozen states. You know, with, what is it, that'll be almost about 20 states will have already been called. Trump will have won every single one of them by double-digit margins. What are you even fighting for at that point? You're not going to get any. You're not going to get any money. Nobody's going to donate to you unless they're a Dem anyway. Hell, if she stays in, she's just robbing money from Joe Biden. The Democrats don't seem to understand at this point. Supporting Nikki Haley is actually going against Joe Biden. You're failing to solidify for trolling purposes. It's funny. I like the idea. I think it's very helpful to MAGA, but I don't think it's helpful to your particular cause, since these are mainly partisan Dems doing it. That $10 you sent to Nikki Haley is $10 you didn't send to Joe Biden. Congratulations for your strategic victory. Now, Trump has crushed her. I mean, these margins are way, way beyond the starting states, because Haley doesn't even have a ground game set up, really. If she had wanted to win, what she should have done is split her time between New Hampshire, where she clinches second, South Carolina, where she wins her own home state, and then one of the smaller Super Tuesday states that's really, really easy to campaign in, like Vermont, actually. Well, there's 14 counties. You can traverse the state several times in a single day. If she had spent a lot of time and money here and really astroturfed things, and you do see Nikki Haley ads because New Hampshire overlaps on WCAX with Vermont and upstate New York, so for what it's worth, you know, you get a threefer. Really, really interesting, by the way. She should have done that. She could have picked Vermont off, feasibly. There are not a lot of MAGA Republicans in Vermont. The Republicans here tend to be more like a Phil Scott rhino. Although that's changing, I think, over time. She could have gotten them to vote for her, and she could have won on the GOP. With the help of Democrats that crossed over, she could have won Vermont. It would have been feasible. So then you have 2 states that you've won. You at least came close in New Hampshire. You get delegates there. And it would have been fine. Nikki Haley could justify continuing to remain in the race Marco Rubio style or something like that. Well, I won a state. Yay! Or Ted Cruz style. Hey, I won a couple of states. Yay! But she doesn't really have that ability. It's a mystery as to why she's even goddamn there at this point. It's not a deep state op, because she's no longer taking any money from Trump that would have been donated to him. Her fan base is Democrats and core TDS sufferers that will never support him anyway. I don't know what she's doing. Yeah, there seems to be no plan there other than chaos and madness. That's about all. Peace out.